Hi everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation. Thank you for coming to my channel today. I've got some fun stuff to show you. I spent some time yesterday, well over the last couple days, made a new junk journal, and then I made some more ephemera pieces to kind of smash the scraps that I had left over from making this journal. And I also have a quick little tutorial for you at the end. So I wanted to do a walkthrough of my journal, go through some of the ephemera pieces that I've made, and then show you a quick trick that I learned and adapted it to make a smaller thing. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you as well. So that'll be towards the end of the tutorial. But the first thing I wanted to share with you is I went ahead and made a bunch of ephemera. And I used some of it in this journal. And then the last video that I shared, making all kinds of ephemera pieces, I actually used in this, a lot of those in this particular journal. And I think it turned out fabulous. And then I also learned a new binding technique. So I'm super excited. We've got all kinds of things today. So with the scraps that I had left over, I made a couple things. So I made some cute little, little journal inserts here that actually have like little notepads in there. And these were inspired, actually, these little notepads were inspired by Kerr. She just did a video on making these staggered wavy notepads. And so it inspired me to kind of make a couple. I did it kind of my way. I didn't do a lot of inking and all that stuff with mine. I just took some scraps of my dyed paper, which I did spend some time this weekend finally getting some regular copy paper coffee dyed. So now I have some more of that in my stash. But I made a couple of these little journal inserts and really liked them. So after I did that, I made, stuff like this. And then I made this one here. So it just has a string closure, and then just made a little notebook out of that. But I just wanted to share with you, that's what I did. I put a little pocket in here because I had a little extra paper, and just did a simple string closure on this one. So these will be ready to go in my journals. I made a couple little notebooks out of just scraps, and just stapled them together. Just, but now they're at the ready, so that when I want to make another junk journal, I have like a whole bunch of things ready to go. On this one, I use my decal scissors. I love my decal scissors. And after I put the paper in there and stapled it, I just deckled the edge, and then I just inked it a little bit just to give it that look. So I made those. I also made, this is something that I shared a little bit ago as well, and this was inspired by both Septeria 18 and Pink Strawberries, and they had made these little vellum pockets. So I decided I had a piece of glassine paper and I wanted to play with that. So I did make a little pocket out of that, and then just did a string closure here with that. And then this one I just made a little vellum pocket, and really super easy. This one was just a piece of paper that I scored on 3 sides at 1/2 inch, and then just folded it over that little sheet of glassine and just made a nice little pocket. So this could go into your book. You could either just glue it completely down or glue it on 2 sides and then have a pocket behind as well. But it's really kind of cool because then, when you stick things in the pocket, you can see through the glassine. So I thought that was fun. So you could use that or vellum or whatever. So I did that. These are tags that I made with a new die set I just bought. Let me grab that. I forgot to grab that. My local craft store has started carrying these dies that are just amazing, and I loved the tag. So this comes with 2 different sizes of, like kind of pre-distressed tags, which are really fun. And I used the smaller ones because the smaller ones, I could get both pieces out of the same 6x6 piece of Tim Holtz paper. In the paper packs that I was using, they had sheets of 12x12 papers that actually had 4 6x6 pieces on them. So I could get both of these on the same 6x6 sheet. So you can see that it's the same paper. I just reversed it. So I made a couple of those tags, and they have the coolest hole reinforcers right there too, so I did that. Just need to finish those, but I thought I'd add ribbons and stuff after I put it in the journal that I'm going to use it for. So I did a couple of those, wanted to do that. I did another stacked hidden paper clip. I did this one wider. This one is inspired by Kerr, and I just made another one. And then on this one, I used 2 small paper clips on each of the levels just to give it a little bit more, you know, holding power. And then I also put an eyelet up at the top so that I could put like a tag, or not a tag, you know, ribbon or something like that out of the top and decorate it. So I thought that was kind of fun. And then this is the piece that will slip over your page, and then this piece will show on the back. So I used a couple of these in this that I'll show you in just a second. So I did that. I also did these reverse file folder tab deals that I've actually used some of these in here, and they're really cool because you put them on the edge of your page, you get a tab, and then you also get a pocket if you glue them just on the 3 sides. So when you put them on the page, and I'll demonstrate that in here. So I have links for all of the inspiration down below. So please do check those out, but those are very, very cool. And the lady that I got that from is at Sunset Maple Studio. So again, I will have a link to that. And it's called a reverse file folder tab pocket. It's really cool. Then, and forgive me, I will put the name of the gal who came up with this Faux Whale Tail. I saw a video, and super cool way to make these if you don't have the punch, which I don't have the punch. So I'm going to show you how they're made, and then I actually kind of figured out a way to make them with a smaller size. You do need a tab punch board to make it this method, the way she did it. So, but I'll show you that for those of you who do have that. I decided to make some more slides because I had used up all of my specimen slides. And again, I haven't decorated any of these because I'm waiting to see kind of the theme of the journal, but I got the basics done. So super easy, and just acetate. And the butterflies were actually from Hobby Lobby, but the rest of the papers were the Tim Holtz papers. And I just used the 3x3s that they have in the paper pads as the cut aparts. This was inspired by, and I know I've seen it in a bunch of places, but this one in particular, the kind of first one that I saw was My Porch Prints, and she did this really cool little hidden journaling spot that is amazing and super easy. And so I just cut down some library cards that I had in my stash and did that. So I made a couple of those as well. So super fun things to do. So that's kind of, I got some more ephemera pieces that I've got built up, and I was enjoying making these. I was totally like, I was watching a TV show and I was playing with these things, using up my scraps, and I didn't really have, you know, it was fun. It was just fun. I spent a couple hours doing it and inking. It was super relaxing, I gotta tell you. So then I started working on this. Now, all of this pretty much started because I saw a tutorial on how to do a brad binding for your junk journal. And that was inspired also by, I saw it by My Porch Prints, and really cool. So I went through my stash. I had some Recollections brads that worked perfectly for this. And again, I'm going to link all this down below, but I decided to try it. So this is like really a junk journal. So I used some lightweight chipboard. I covered it with actual grocery bags, very thin ones, but they were grocery sacks. And so I used that to actually cover my album with, and they were so big that I just did the one sheet and laid down my pieces instead of piecing it together or doing like a lay flat binding like I do with my albums. And then I just went in my stash and I found this lace. So that's how I'm going to keep it close, because it got kind of big. When I started making it, it didn't look like it was going to get that big, and it ended up getting quite chunky, which I really like. You know, we all like our chunky albums. So anyways, these are brads, and basically what you do, the idea is that instead of doing a pamphlet stitch, in the holes you poke in the spine, you pop brads in. And if your papers aren't thick enough, or too thick, excuse me, if your papers aren't too thick and your brads are long enough and skinny enough, this works amazing. Let me show you the middle of what it looks like. It's right there. So I did 2 signatures, and you know, she demonstrates this really well. So the link is down below, but I just did 2 signatures, and I went through my stash of papers and just grabbed a bunch, and then I got my Tim Holtz papers out, and then I just started going to town. So let me show you what I did. I'll kind of do a walkthrough. So I did add some of my newly made fun little pieces. So I've got that, and then I did, excuse me, adhere it on 3 sides. This does actually fit in. Trust me, see, it does. And then I glued it on the 2 sides down below, and then put one of the tags that I made. And then this piece here was off of my last junk portfolio tutorial. I had to take this off of one of my little tags that I used because it was just too bulky and it wasn't closing right. And then so I just clipped it to the top of the tag and thought that would be pretty right there. So I just went through my ephemera, got some butterflies. So this is Tim Holtz. Tim Holtz. This says Be True. This is a bag that I got at a gift shop, and I saved it for this occasion. It was so big that I got several sheets out of it. Here is a dyed envelope that I had made, and then I just put one of the pattern papers that I made into a tag. And then this is one of my newly coffee dyed papers that I cut down and then just put in there. And then it's also, you can put something behind it. Went through my stash. This is a hidden paper clip here. On the other side, I showed this in my last video where this opens up, and then this is a little pocket, and it has little spaces for little tabs and stuff. So I just put that on there and then clipped it over so you can tuck something underneath. On the other side, I put a paper and then a guest check that I grunged up with some dye. Here, oh, this was fun. So I bought this stuff years ago. I have no idea if it's even available anymore. It's called Tinted Tape by Vintage Street Market, and I have several of the ones that are kind of this yellow color, and you can see it really does look vintagey. So I decided to use some of that to tape down some of the pieces. And then here I added a little small paper clip. And then this is a little card that I cut out of a piece of scrapbook paper and, you know, decided I was going to use it as ephemera. So I dug that out and I used several of these. Here's what I'm going to show you at the end of the video, how to make a smaller version of that whale tail. The version that I showed previously in kind of my pile of goodies was the larger version that was shown in the tutorial, but I figured out how to make a smaller version as well. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Here it says, remember the now. I have calendar papers like crazy that I got a long time ago and decided that I was going to use those. So I have a couple of those in here. Here's some parchment that I got from Hobby Lobby, and then one of the little booklet paper clips. And this was from Paper Outpost. So she inspired that one, and I had made that, so I added that. Here's a little notebook that I made in my last video, and I just popped this into a vellum pocket. And I did use one of the little tiny clips from Tim Holtz to keep it closed and to also be a pull to take it out. So that kind of helped it stay in the pocket better. Here's a library pocket that I had, library card that I had, and I used one of the bigger whale tails on that just to put that in there. And then here is a piece of ephemera that I just put on there. This is a paper clip, a hidden paper clip that I just popped onto the top of this pocket. This is another envelope. I added a piece of paper and then one of my grocery sack pages that I used in the last project as well to put in here. And then I did add half of one of those reverse file folder things, and so it's just how you glue it on there. So it gives you the tab, which I put make it count on the tab, and then it also creates a pocket so you have another tuck spot. And then this is something that I had made a while ago, a bookmark, and I just thought the colors and the butterflies worked really perfect, so I decided to add that. I have several of those made up ready to go, so I can just pop that in there and it's good to go. Added the gentleman here that says one of a kind, and then here we go. So more ephemera. This is a paper tablecloth that I got in like a junk journal ephemera pack a long time ago, never used. So I just cut that up. And then you can see how the brads, they work perfectly, and they're skinny enough. They work great. Here's a little hidden paper clip that I made using a doily, and then I covered it with a piece. It's hard to see because I covered it up with some ephemera and stuff, but what I did was I put the doily across the page, put paper clips down, and then I layered some of the Tim Holtz flowers on top of that. And then I used I think it was a 3-inch circle punch, and layered it over top. So that's what covers the paper clips. And then I added some clusters that I had made a while ago. And let me show you my cluster. These were inspired by treasure books. And so I made this cluster book, and I put a bunch of, I spent one day just making a whole bunch of clusters and hadn't used any. So I decided to go ahead and use some of them. The idea is that you make the clusters, you put them in a book. I used some old K & Company papers, and I just made a bunch of clusters out of some ephemera that I had and glued them down, and then you can cut them out as you need them, or tear them out, as you can see there. And then, you know, you have them for your project. So I just picked a couple for this project that I thought would work, and that's what I ended up using on that. So again, you can, it's a hidden paper clip, so underneath the doily, I can tuck a piece of my paper, and I think it turned out really pretty. But I did layer flowers underneath that circle and just have them popping out. I just think it turned out really cute. I just love it. So here on this paper bag, it had a seam because of where the join was, and I just decided to like tape the seam. I thought that looked kind of fun. And then this says "Come What May." Here's another piece of my paper that I just taped down, and then I added a little clip. And then this is a little teeny tiny file folder that I had a punch for that I just used. And then in this envelope pocket, again, more papers. Here is a tag that I made from leftover paper, and I used that tape, taped it at the top and then underneath at the top so that you can have a flip up, which is kind of cool. You could do some secret journaling under there. This is the back of a paper clip, okay, a hidden paper clip. I just tucked that on there, added some ephemera to both sides, and I don't have anything to tuck under there yet, but like I said, it was getting full, and I want to be able to add more stuff to it as I use it, so I kept some pages kind of plain. Here's the other notebook in my previous video, and again, I just added the little tiny clip so that I could pull it out and keep it closed in that vellum bag. This is a piece of parchment. I just folded it over, made a pocket, added some more paper, added the ephemera here. One of those again. Here is the full-on file folder, the hidden file folder tab pocket. And I added a couple Tim Holtz tags there and here. And it's just really super cute. And it gives you little tabs. I just think it's fun. Some faux stamps that I made using packaging from the Tim Holtz paper collection, just glued those there. Here is another one of the little mini ones I'll show you how to do in just a minute. This says "This Very Moment." Little tiny envelope that I punched out of some pattern paper with a tiny paper clip. And then here's another hidden paper clip that I used over the top of this entire pocket to hold everything inside, and then I added the tag. This is one of those stacked paper clips by G, and I just love how that turned out. So I just grabbed a couple different papers and tucked those under there like that. And then here's the other side. The other side was kind of plain, so I did use one of my clusters on top of that. So again, still don't have anything underneath. Left those plain little ephemera pocket again. This is one of the Tim Holtz pictures. I just taped it on with tape. And then I had some other little pieces of ephemera here. So I did use a couple of my guest checks, and it had the yellow papers, and originally I just threw them away. And then I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to keep them and use them as another little journaling spot. So I thought that was kind of fun. That's just a regular paper clip here. Here's another hidden paper clip. That is the stacked hidden paper clip. And on this one, I just did the 3 tags. So I love it. It gives you 3 places, and you can do them vertical or horizontal like this one, and it works great, and it gives you a kind of a nice tab too. So I loved that. So again, one of the table covers. This one had a rip in it, so I just used my tape to mend it. And then I clipped one of those little paper tablets in there. Trust Your Heart here, one of the smaller little pieces that I made. This is one of my little clipboard pieces that I just clipped to the page using that same clip. So you'll have to check out my other video too, and I'll have links to everything. Here's a paper clip that I made a pocket with, and I had that in my last video too. So I just clipped that over the top of that page. Here's an envelope that I had made a while ago and had a stash of. Made a great little piece for the pocket, and then I just put a paper inside that little vellum envelope. Another library card. This one I glued on 3 sides so I can make that a pocket as well. And then I added one of the tabs to the library card. And then here's another one of those. I used half of it and made a pocket with a little tab there on that page. Just tape this one down. So another one of those receipts. And then on the back here, another envelope that I put one of my papers in. It's glued on 3 sides, so I can do this. And this is something that I had made a long time ago. So this is paper from an old music book that I have. And then I did a ruffle and I sewed down it, and I have like a whole like snippet roll kind of thing of that. So I used a piece to cover that envelope there, and then I also used it on the front cover. And then the front cover, I used one of my slides. That was the last slide that I had. So then that's why I ended up making more. And then I layered flowers underneath, and I have a tea-dyed doily underneath. It's hard to see because I kind of covered most of it up, but you can see peaks of it, so I like that. And then these guys here, you guys aren't going to believe this. These are pieces from the dollar store, and I was super like crazy impressed. They are actually pretty thick and sturdy. They're not squishy and foamy. So I just glued those onto the corner. I thought those were really pretty, and it kind of matched the color theme. But you get a pack of these, $1.25 for all of these little pieces. And so I thought I'd try them, and they actually worked out really, really well. So the next time I go back, I'm going to go and get some more because those are really cool. They match the buttons. And again, these are from Recollections, and that was the Brad binding. And I was like, I'm super surprised. It worked really well. It was a little fiddly getting them through the holes, but once you did, I mean, it works great. I thought it was really cool. So check out that tutorial. All right. So now let me show you what I was talking about with the whale tails. So you will need a couple punches. So the, she used in the tutorial, she used 2.5-inch punches. Okay, so I punched one out of 2.5, and then I did a smaller one out of a 2-inch circle because I just wanted to see if I could do it. So we'll start with the 2.5. You will need to score these, and when you do score them, I'm just going to put them in my scoreboard, and half of 2.5 is 1.25. So I'm just going to go at 1.25 and score that at the halfway mark. Okay, and fold that and burnish. All right, so then grab your punch. So you do need the tab punch for this. And what she did was she lined it up like right at the edge. If you can see this, right at the edge of the medium here. Let me put this in so I can show you. That's where she started lining it up. So I took my Sharpie and I made a little mark so it was easier for me to see. So I just put this in here right where that bottom piece of the tab, if you were going to make a straight tab, that's where that would line up at the medium line. And I just put, and hopefully you can see, let me see if you can see that. I just put a little mark right there. Okay. So there's the medium line where it goes down and it swoops down. And then I line that up straight and made a mark. Okay. So that's where you start. So you put your little circle in with the folded line up at the top, line it up to that edge, and you punch. Okay. So that makes your first punch like so. Then you turn it and you take this edge here and you line it up to the small. Okay, so you have on this board, large, medium, small. We started at the kind of the medium stop line, and then we're going to line that cut edge at the small. You're going to punch that, and that gives you that shape. And then all you need to do now is just take your scissors and snip off those little nubbins. Okay, and that's the large whale tail. And it's super cool. I've never had a whale tail. punch, and I've always wanted one, never could find one. So now I can make kind of my own faux version. So that is not, or that is what I saw in the video tutorial. So then I got to playing with, I had 2-inch circles and I wanted to see what would happen. So I punched a 2-inch circle and I'm going to score at 1 inch. Okay. Like so. And then I'm going to grab my punch board. So what I ended up doing was I lined it up at the small line. Okay. So basically, yeah, I lined it up with a small line, and I did not put a mark there, but I can kind of eyeball it. But with the small tab, that line, that's where I lined it up, and I punched it. And then what I did was I went back in and I went back to the small, and that didn't quite work because it just made it too wonky. It didn't cut it right. So what I ended up doing was I kind of lined up my tab where I punched it, and I went the same distance in. So I kind of made an extra small line. So I measured, and let me show you so you can see. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so I kind of went in about the same width as from between the large and the medium and the small. And then I held it steady and I used my Sharpie and I drew a line. So now I have an extra small line. Okay. So then I went back in with this little tab and I lined it up to my new extra small line, flush at the top, punched it, and it made that. And it is just about perfect. And I don't have to trim it. So that's how I made the small version of this faux whale tail, and I absolutely loved it. So it's a great way to use up scraps. The circles that I punched out with the slides that I made these, so that was pretty cool, and it worked out great. So I just wanted to share with you all of that. And that's kind of my quick and dirty tutorial. So if you have that tab punch board, that's another way to use it, making faux whale tails. So again, the larger one used the 2.5-inch punch. The smaller one made the 2-inch punch. Okay? Or the 2-inch punch made the smaller one. Boy, I'm getting tongue-tied. Okay. So that's the end of my video and my kind of extra tutorial. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out the links below and give some love to the other creators and artists out there that I have learned from and made all of these beautiful things, because they are so willing to share their talents with us too. So thank you so much for watching. Have a very lovely day, and don't forget, stay crafty. Bye-bye.